Hi guys, welcome to the Take Why Humanities channel. This is the channel where we are going to upload a lot of our notes for humanities, and we're going to start off first with our social studies SBQ skills. And of course, what better to start off with than with the first skill, right? Which is the skill of inference. Alright, so let's get started. Okay, so for this lecture, we are going to study what is inference. So what is the exact definition of inference? Is it really that difficult to achieve? And in fact, I'm going to tell you it is not, of course, because we see this in our everyday lives, we actually have to make inferences. And of course, we're going to touch on inference and examinations. And at this point in time, I would like to point it out to you that this inference skill that you have learned is similar to the one that you learned in lower secondary history. And of course, for that, you're building on to upper secondary history. And of course, if you are a lower secondary history student and you're looking at this and you're wondering what else is there for you to use if you are not taking history in your upper secondary classes, you have to use it because we are going to use it for our social studies class, which is a compulsory subject that all of you must take. So it is something that you need to know. And of course, knowing that if you're in upper secondary and you're doing history and social studies as a combined humanities, this is actually a perk for you because the skill set is rather similar. Of course, history is a little bit more difficult, but the basic is there. So let us move on to the basics, starting off with what is inference. So inference is a rather easy concept to grasp. It is basically forming a logical conclusion to a question based on the clues from a given source. Now this, I would like to break it up for you, which simply means this logical conclusion here refers therefore to your inference. This question here, obviously, knowing that we are striving for our exams, right? This is our exam question. And these clues will eventually end up to be the evidence from your source of the source-based question. The sources in your SBQ. Simple as that. But now it all sounds very technical. I'm just going to break it down for you to show you that actually you have been doing it all your life and it is not that hard to grasp. It is actually something that's already in tune with you. So why do I say that we use inference in our daily lives and that is something already in tune with you? Simple, because if you just look at the picture on the right over here, of course, just look at this picture and think, what emotion is the boy feeling right now? So just take a moment to think and before I review the answer. So I hope that you got this correct, which is the boy is feeling very angry right now. So, I mean, if you are able to come to this conclusion, remember, inference is forming a logical conclusion. Logical meaning it makes sense, okay? And it has to be based on the clues. So something from the picture must have told you why you think that this boy is angry, okay? And again, it's logical conclusion. It cannot be feeling happy, feeling excited, feeling enthusiastic. No. Angry, upset, these are correct inferences. Okay, so what from the picture tells you that? And I hope that you pointed these out because these are the clues that basically told me why this boy is why do I know that this boy is angry. So the clues are this: he is frowning, he is slamming the door. So this is clue. This is basically therefore the evidence. Remember, my conclusion must always be based on an evidence. The evidence is that he's frowning and that he slammed the door behind him. Okay, and of course you can say the mother is shocked. You know, if I assume this is the mother. So yeah, so how does frowning and slamming the door tell you that someone is feeling angry? So this is when we need to explain. Basically, how? How does the clue link and help you to arrive at your conclusion? It is the connect. And basically, why do frowning and slamming the door tell me that someone is feeling angry? Because these are generally the expressions, the facial expressions and the actions that people use to show their unhappiness or anger. We see this every single day. Okay? So in us, we already know. These are the cues that we know that when these things happen, the person is unhappy, the person is angry, the person is upset. Okay? And we also know that there are ways that these are the ways that we use to vent any negative emotions that we have. So in our everyday lives, we actually do see something like this. Just let me give you another example. So just imagine that this is your first day in a new school, okay? And you would like to make a new friend. So around you, you see that there are these two very good looking people. Okay, this very handsome young man and this very pretty young lady. But question of the day, who would you be more at ease talking to first? Who will you approach more before the other? For me, personally, I would just go for this just because, well, he's smiling and smiling tells me that he is friendly. He's smiling at me or he is happy. You know, you wouldn't go to someone who is unhappy, right? Okay, so I will go to him more first because his smile, his gentle eyes tells me that he is open to making new friends. Whereas for this poor girl here, she's frowning. She's not very happy. She's giving me a deadpan glare. Sorry. She's giving me a deadpan glare and it looks like she's telling me to go away and she doesn't feel like talking right now. So this is an inference that you make every day. And it is not just in school. Let's move on to another scenario. Okay, I would just for a moment want you to imagine that you are working, or you can even ask your parents about this, that they are working, and take this as your boss for a moment. This is your boss, okay? These two are the same people. They're both your boss, and you think that it is time for a pay rise. You want your pay to increase, okay? So these are two different times of the day, maybe 2 p.m. Okay, and then there's this is 4 p.m. and it's nearing knockoff time at 5 p.m., right? So when do you think, at which point in time do you think you would actually approach, all right, your boss and ask for the pay rise? At 2 p.m. or at 4 p.m.? Personally, I will go for 4 p.m. Okay, because his facial expressions tells me that, okay, he is happier and probably I will have a higher chance of getting him to consider rather than, he's just probably gonna chase me out of his office because he's unhappy. His facial cues tells me that he is unhappy. Okay, so this is inference in our daily lives. I think you use it in school all the time when you see your friends and when you see your teachers. If your teacher comes in very, very angry, do you try and joke with her? Do you try and ask her, oh, can I go to the bathroom? Can I do this? Can I do that? Instead of starting the lesson. You probably will not. Okay, so, and whether or not to ask about your exams. After exams, this is what you do. And if she looks like she is angry, would you go and ask him or her? Okay, so these are inferences in our daily lives. It's just that simple. All right, so we're going to transfer it to our exams. Okay? So of course, I wouldn't show you faces during exams. How do I know there's an inference question? This is basically what your exam paper will look like. This should be familiar to you. Section A, you need to read the background information first. These are the questions that are given. Okay? And therefore, I would like you to know that this skill, okay, the guiding question or the guiding answer template that I'm going to teach you only applies to section A. Do not use it for section B. Okay? And these are the questions, okay, that are required, that are basically inference questions that require you to answer them in the inference question kind of way. So, questions 1A and B are basically the questions, okay, that you will see in your exams. And you will need to think, in your exams, The teachers wouldn't be there to tell you, oh, this is an inference question, you need to answer like an inference question. This is an inference with purpose question, you need to answer like an inference with purpose question, okay? Basically, you need identifiers, okay? So I'm going to tell you over here, you see the box, okay? You will see that there are different types of inferences, okay? The first kind that you see here is a message inference. What is a message inference? Basically, a message inference is an open-ended kind of question where it requires an open-ended kind of answer. Okay? How do you know, therefore? I'm going to give you an example of the answers later, okay? But how do you know, therefore, what is a message inference? What are the words in the question that can tell you that it is a message inference? When you see the word what, usually it is an inference question. What is the message? Okay, especially it must come with this. What is the message? Okay, before you know that it's an inference question. Okay, what does the source tell you? What can you learn? What can you infer? And of course, there are many other kinds, but these are the basics that you should know. And as we go on, you will find different variations in time to come. But these are the basic ones that you need to know. Okay, so things that tell you it is a message inference question. Message, tell, learn, infer. All right. Now, there's another kind of inference question, which is the stand inference. What is a stand inference? A stand basically is your opinion. Okay, but this is not the opinion of yours. Okay, I'm asking for the opinion of the source, from the perspective and point of view of the source. In other words, your answers should only be yes or no. Again, examples are coming. Okay, but what are the cues to tell you that this is a stand inference question? Basically, when you have words that require you to answer yes or no. So does the author of the source think that? Then yes, the author thinks that. Does the source agree that? Yes, the source agrees that. Or no, the source does not agree that. Okay. Do you like McDonald's? Yes, I like McDonald's. You wouldn't answer something else. Okay, you wouldn't answer to do you like McDonald's? You wouldn't answer McDonald's is nice. You know, your immediate answer will be yes. Okay, the first answer that comes to your mind. So this is a stand inference question. So you need to know these keywords very well at the back of your mind, because this is the first of the many SBQ skills, like I said in the front. There are many more to come. Okay, so you need to answer correctly. So how do you answer? I will need to first give you an example. Just simply referring to the example that I gave you earlier, the easier one, okay, you will see that I have phrased my answers in 3 portions: the conclusion, the clue, and the connect. Okay? Conclusion basically is what some of the teachers call the inference, which I call the conclusion. Clue is presenting an evidence. And connect is giving an explanation. I would like you to take a moment and look at this. All right? In my conclusion and in my connect, I never once mentioned the word frowning or slam the door, if you would like to observe. Okay, and this is very, very important, because there's no point repeating to me what I am seeing or what I'm reading. I'm educated, I can see, I'm not illiterate, I know that the boy is frowning, I know the word slam. So a conclusion is supposed to be a logical guess, sort of guess, okay? And if you are guessing, if you're making a guess, you wouldn't be repeating the same thing. That's not guessing, that's just telling me something, okay? So this is very important. In your conclusion and connect, you do not repeat what is in the source or what is in your clue or your evidence. Okay? So, in an exam, how would this look like? Let me give you an example source-based paper that you can refer to. And before that, I'm going to give you an answer guide. This is usually the answer guide that I get my students to learn. Okay, this is what I call the 4 C's. Okay, to answering an inference question. Where do the 4 C's come from? Basically, conclusion, clue, connect, and conclusion again. So what is in each of them? Okay, for conclusion, basically, you need to answer the question directly. When I say answer the question directly, okay, it means you have to apply a direct answer. For example, okay, when the question is, what is the message of source X? You begin with the message of source X is this has to match. Alright, so this requires a direct answer. Okay, which is the inference. You are applying the direct skill, logical conclusion, hence conclusion. Alright, the clue is therefore the evidence, alright, in which you copy from the source. And C, like I said just now, is your explanation. Sorry if I'm repeating, but there are some things that I need to add on. To note, must not contain words from the source, must not contain words from the source. Explanation is how this means that it is a process. I will show you the process later, but this is a process, okay, of how you arrive at your conclusion based on the clue. Okay, so 4 C's is what I always advise my students to write in answering an inference question. Another type of question that you will see. Question is, what can you learn from source X about the building of the IRs in Singapore? Okay, what can you learn? I can learn. Alright, building of IRs in Singapore. I refer back to the topic of the question. Always answer exam question, not the issue statement. Your issue statement will come in later at the connect. Alright, I will explain to you later when you see an issue statement alongside with the example SBQ. Okay, over here, the first line, important, do not only answer issue statement. You must make a note about this. Okay, you always have to answer the exam question. Now here comes an answer, okay, for a stand inference question. Okay, this is a stand inference question, right? It's a yes/no question. Alright, so what is in the stand inference question? The stand inference question answer will usually include your stand, the stand of the source, no. The author does not agree that the building of the IRs. If you would like to take a look at this, it is the repeat of the question. But I do not end it here because reason. Never just give the stand because this, alright, is a further explanation. Okay, it's a further explanation to your answer. Alright, you just need to give it very briefly. The detailed one will come below at the connect. The detailed one will come here. Okay, so let us just practice now with a example source-based question. And this is the question that we are looking at. Okay, I would just need you to remember this issue statement right here. Here's a quick tip, okay, for your exams. Okay, you may copy it down somewhere if you would like. Okay, always use your issue statement to plan for your answers because you will be able to use your answers later. Okay, and the main thing you need to know is you need to break the issue statement down so you can understand your question. Okay, and then what does this do? You can better understand your sources, because your sources actually all are supposed to discuss. Imagine your source-based case study is a forum. Okay, so an annoying person asked this question, and then people started replying with all of these things that you couldn't understand. You need to analyze the answers to this question. So all the sources actually answer to this question. Okay, so when you analyze and understand your question better, you will therefore be able to understand better why certain people reply with these. Okay, like this cartoon. Alright, what has this cartoon, what has this cartoon got to do, okay, with this issue statement? Alright, this you need to be very clear. So, I'm not here to dive into breaking down of your issue statement. If you would like, you can ask your teachers. Alright, but we're going to dive straight in this time round to the inference questions. Alright, so in this case, you saw the inference questions earlier just now when I presented the examples of the questions. Okay, and these are the questions that we're going to apply to this source base. So, study source A. What is the message of source A? Explain your answer. Study source B. Does the author of this source think that Singapore IELTS will be a success? So this is a message inference and this is a stand inference. So let us start with question A. Okay, so what is the message of source A? We look at this cartoon, right? Let us do a little bit of planning, okay? The question, the issue statement was, how far will the integrated resorts at Singapore and Marina benefit Singapore? So if we look at this, there's this, again, facial cues, right? Facial expressions. Do you think that this lady is very happy? This is a toilet bowl. What exactly is it? What does it represent? Okay, firstly, the toilet bowl is labeled IR. So this toilet bowl, what do you think it represents? Especially with the handle. And this is likely to be a jackpot. So, jackpot handle, right? Lever or something like that. Okay? And then, so therefore this toilet bowl actually represents the casino. I mean jackpot casinos, right? Okay? And she is actually pulling her light. I assume that she's slotting it in and then she's pushing down the lever, because this is what you do for jackpot, right? You throw in the coins, you push down the lever, and then you see what happens. But the problem is this is not a normal jackpot. This is a toilet bowl. So the moment you pull a lever on the toilet bowl, you are doing the act of flushing. So what are you flushing? You are flushing away your money. And it's not just money, it is life savings. It is life savings of this poor old lady. So, according to this, answer the issue statement. How far will the integrated resorts at Singapore, at Sentosa and Marina, benefit Singapore? Obviously, it will not benefit. Why? Because you're wasting your money. Your life savings are gone, you know. So wasting money. Okay, you're going to lead a poor life after that. You're going to suffer because you have no money. You wasted all your life savings. Obviously, this is a bad thing. Okay, so we have to therefore answer this question. What is the message of source A? Now, why do I say you can do your planning first with regards to the issue statement? Because you can use it in your answer. And always remember, your answer here must always match to the question directly. Alright, so the first line, obviously, the opening line will be the message of source A. See, what is the message of source A? The message of source A, okay, is that the integrated resorts in Sentosa and Marina will not benefit Singapore. This is a familiar friend. It's so familiar. Will not benefit Singapore. Because this actually resembles our issue statement. But yet, we cannot just answer the issue statement. We have to go on and talk about because. How do you know, okay, that you're not just maybe 50-50 chance, oh, it's only benefit or not benefit, only what? Okay, so how does the marker know that you have really thought things through? You need to give a reason. Why do you come up with this benefit? Okay, because it will cause people to lose their hard-earned money. This is what our planning was earlier. Okay, we planned that earlier, that she will lose her money. Okay, remember flushing it down? Life savings, her wasting money. Okay, so this, therefore, the act of this can go into your evidence, your clue. And as such, this can be seen from the old woman pushing her life savings down the toilet bowl, which resembles a jackpot in the casino. Okay, this is why we actually talked about earlier, wherever we annotated on the source, you can just slot it into your answer. Okay, and it was flushing it away, and the moment you flush the things, it goes away forever, unless you want to dig the sewage for it, which nobody does. So it goes away forever. Okay, means you're never getting your money back. Okay, so what does this mean? This is the difficult part which most students grapple with. It's actually not that difficult if you manage to break it down. Okay, this is the explanation. So the next part we're going to talk about is connect. But instead of just directly giving you the answer, I'm just going to go through certain steps with you to help you arrive at this answer. Basically, connect is how your clue helps you to arrive step by step at your conclusion. The parts in between is the connect. Okay, so I'm going to give you a a flow chart, okay, to help you process this better. So this is how the flow chart looks like, okay? Your clue goes here. This is your clue. All right? And this is your conclusion. Doesn't benefit. That is your conclusion, right? Okay, so how does this lead to your conclusion? Okay, so basically, what is the first thing that will happen when your savings go down the toilet bowl? All your life savings. The first thing that means you're going to lose all your money lah. Okay, so you lose money forever. What happens next when you lose your money? Step by step, the next immediate thing you will think, just think, your parents stop giving you pocket money, what happens to you? You got no money to buy food, you got no money to buy stationery, you got no money to top up your EZ-Link card, you got no money for this, no money for that, no money to buy things for your girlfriend, your boyfriend. Basically, you cannot do anything without the money. You cannot survive. Okay? So, when you lose money, alright, you are inability to purchase or afford. What is this? Afford basic needs. Okay? Or you cannot live a normal life. Inability to live a normal life. You can't. No normal life for you because you gamble your money away. Okay? And are you happy with this? Do you think you can live properly like this? Okay? Basically, you can't. You are suffering. So is suffering a benefit or not? Obviously not lah. Okay, so therefore does not benefit Singapore. So this step by step in between here is your connect. So after working this out, what do you need to do? You just need to string them together into a prose form. Okay, now when you string these together in a prose form, you've got to make sure that all of these steps are in it. Okay, all of the steps. Oops. You got to make sure that all of these steps, okay, are in your prose form, because as an explanation, it requires accuracy. It requires precision. Okay? And how do you get this precision? Easy. This one, 不变, you need to practice. Okay, so as a start, obviously, you are not going to be very, very well versed with writing a good connect or good explanation. But with every step, every single time you take out a piece of paper, you work out the connect like this, okay, this flow chart. As time goes by, you no longer need a flow chart. I mean, teachers don't obviously always use the flow chart all the time, okay, because we have a lot of practice. So practice makes perfect. All right, if you still don't know, please go and ask your teachers. Okay, so how does it look like in prose? So here you go. This is what it looks like in prose, okay? And after that, obviously, you go on to the last step, which is conclusion, repeat of your first. See, this is the conclusion, really to end off your paragraph, like to tell the marker, okay, I'm done talking. It is your turn to mark. Okay, so this is the line that tells people that you are done with your analysis, you're rounding this up beautifully. Okay, so this is it. This is how it should look like. Okay, the length. Obviously, you don't use the table, especially if you are an upper sec student. You don't need the table. Okay, this is to help lower sec students. A few things I need you to look at and for you to know, which is if you notice that just now in the empty template, right, you can see the words. This can be seen from. This means that, and therefore now these are very good starting words that you can use to cue you in so that you will not forget. You will not forget to write a conclusion and then followed by a clue and then by a connect, because this means that will cue you in that, oh, it is time to write a connect. I will not forget my connect. So if you do not have this, what are the words that you need to remember in order to have your 4 C's, which is this can be seen from, this means that, and therefore. I strongly recommend that these be present in your answers. You can rephrase the words, but the meaning must be the same. Okay? These words must be in there. So this is a rather scary slide of how it should look like in your prose. Obviously, because this is squeezed to the side, it is a lot lesser in the paper, okay, but of course it's not that little. You can count the number of lines there are. You can see the precision of how we analyze this source. Everything must be inside. Okay, basically it's the same thing as in the table, but it is not all in word form. Okay, upper sec students, I need to take note of this. You must do this. And one thing that I need to point out to you later, because over here we link to the issue statement immediately and we gave the because, right? Later you will see in my next example, the answer is not the issue statement, but somehow this will appear in my answer like a ninja somewhere. Okay, but always give this because. The moment you use the issue statement to answer the question, what is the message? And the message comes from with the help of the issue statement, always give a because so that the markers will know that it's not by luck you chose the correct answer. Okay, you need to reassure the marker that you are an educated person who analyzed the source correctly. How so? By giving this because, this reason, the reasoning behind the decision. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next question. So here we are looking at the standard inference, and you realize that this time around the question actually specifically asks something. I have to see and answer whether this author thinks that Singapore IR is a success. I cannot answer benefit anymore. Then I will get a 0 marks, because I'm not answering the question. I need to answer whether this is a success. Okay, so let us break down the source through trying to understand it by the issue statement. Okay, source B. Within 5 years, these 2 integrated resorts could bring in 17 million tourists who will spend more than 30 billion and create over 100,000 jobs. Just this line itself, the issue statement, how far will these benefit Singapore, right? Is it a benefit or not a benefit? It is actually a benefit. So please annotate. This part says benefit. Answer the issue statement first in your planning. This is not going in here. It is not. Okay, but it's for you to understand. It will help, I assure you. Okay, so Singapore IRs focus on total entertainment with a range of great experiences, but gambling will still be an important revenue source. Again, revenue. Revenue simply means money lah. You can see the money face here. Okay, so obviously, Singapore authorities must be careful not to threaten this revenue. This revenue needs to stay with us. It cannot run away. Okay, so obviously this says it is a benefit. Okay, so this source is very clear. All right, the author, does it think that it will be a success? Okay, with money rolling in, is it a success? Obviously, the answer is yes. The author thinks that the Singapore IRs will be a success because we see money. It will benefit our economy. Okay, so this, yes, is a success because our economy becomes a success. All these must go into the answer. Okay, so here it is. I know I used the word revenue here, but it is because I have given my answer up to here. I have economic gains. Always bring in your answers. So, okay lah, I can try not to include this because of the word revenue. This will do. Okay, so again, does the author of the source think? The author of the source thinks. Will be a success. Let me answer back to the question. This is the exam question. I always repeat because students always forget. So I need to drill you in. Answer exam question. This can be seen from, just now we highlighted these two parts. Again, you see these words are provided. Always use these words. These can be seen from within 5 years, blah, blah, blah. So put that in. While you put that in, you will notice something very interesting that you have not seen in the answer in the other example, which is, there are two quotation marks because now you are copying words. The moment you copy words, you need that. Okay, you need that. All right, and not just that. All right, something that I need to caution a lot of our students is that do not copy majority of the source. Do not copy majority of the source in there because, look, just now we highlighted a few clues, right? This one, important revenue source. Singapore authorities must be careful not to threaten this. Can you imagine if you copy the whole thing up to here, leaving one line not copied? Basically, 4/5 of the question of the source you copy in already. You are telling the marker that actually you don't really know which part is the correct one, which is the main focus of the source. And you're just going to pretend that you know and then just dump the whole thing in and then try your luck lah. Like that, might as well copy the whole source. So no, you have to be able to tell the marker that you know exactly what is the correct answer. Choose only 1 to 2 sentences. I would say even 1 sentence, okay? But sometimes 1 sentence is not enough to support your answer. So 1 to 2 sentences would be good. All right, so make sure you do not copy the majority of the source. Like, this one cannot copy in. Only copy these 2 lines here. Okay, so what do these mean? Again, we come to our favorite flowchart. Okay, what does bring in 17 million tourists and $30 billion to create 100,000 over jobs, okay, can do? Now, we are building the bridge. Okay, more tourists and more jobs. Tourists, sorry, I got a grammar mistake. Tourists. Okay, what does this bring? And I have to reach here eventually. Economic benefits. Okay, first step, when there are more tourists and more jobs, okay, obviously generate more money, right? Make more money. Okay, obviously, we try to, as we go on to upper secondary, we try to appear more educated, generate more income. Okay, for who? For you and me? No, for Singapore. Plus, create jobs. Now, jobs is in the source. Why I will use jobs is because there's no other words that really represent jobs. Work, create more work, doesn't make sense. Occupation doesn't make sense. Jobs is the word. Okay, so really I can just use this. Okay, or more work opportunities, but doesn't really explain as well. Jobs is kind of one of a kind of word. Okay, that's why I use it, but please do not use this all the time. All right, when you create more jobs and you make more money, the economy will grow. And therefore, when economy grow, it is a benefit. You can even add on that people get happy when the economy grows. Okay? So this, again, is the connect. And again, we have to be very, very accurate. More money, jobs, economy grow. Okay? Then you put it into the prose form. Must be accurate. There you go. So this is how it looks like in prose, okay? And then, of course, finish it up with a perfect, beautiful ending. And this tells us it is the end of your answer. And obviously, again, upper secondary students, please do not use this table form. Put it in a prose form, like so. Okay, so this is the prose form that I expect to see, all right, with your words here. This is your answer, because it will bring economic gains, okay? Your clue, this can be seen from, and then this means that. This is what I have not yet pointed out. Do you see the word benefit here? Economy? Because we are linking back to the issue. Remember our dear issue just now? Okay, how far will the IRs in Sentosa and Marina benefit Singapore? Benefit, the idea of benefit. Here we go, benefit. Okay? So even in your explanation must relate back to issue in your explanation, especially when it does not, when the question doesn't require you. Your question did not ask for your issue statement, your explanation must give it. Okay, and this will help you explain anyway. Okay, the answer is just there in your issue statement, just use it. Okay, so always link back to the issue statement, must remember. All right. So, well, the lecture is coming to an end soon. So just before I go off, I'm going to tell you some common mistakes that your seniors always make and what to avoid. Okay, so what are the mistakes that are always made? The first one is this. They like to copy or rephrase from the source, especially in the conclusion and the connect. And when this happens, your whole answer, if you realize that both questions are worth 5 marks, if you do that in your conclusion and connect, it is only going to worth 1 mark. Your entire answer will only worth 1 mark, because like I said, when you copy and you repeat what is from the source, you are not entirely making a logical guess. You're not going to tell me when I ask you, how is Alvin feeling today? You're not going to tell me, oh, he is frowning today. No, you're just going to tell me, oh, he's unhappy today, even though you don't see the word unhappy written on his face. Same thing here, you do not repeat what you see or read. Okay, the marker can read. Okay, so tell them what you think. The marker cannot see in your brain. Tell them what you think. Make your logical conclusion very clear without repeating the source. Next is misinterpretation of source. This is a very common thing when people move away, because they try not to copy from the source, right? They try and make a guess, and then sometimes the guesses are wrong. It is okay. Everyone goes through this stage, okay? But how do you resolve this stage? Alright, if you totally misunderstand what the source meant, it's only usually worth 1 to 2 marks. So please resolve this by planning your sources using your issue statement. So your sources will never ever include words from your issue statement. Throughout it, both of the sources that I show you never ever mention the word benefit or not benefit, and in what way. Use the issue statement to help you. Okay, so the picture doesn't have the word does not benefit, and then when you plan, you have the word does not benefit. You include it in your conclusion or you connect. It's not going to fault you. Okay, and always analyze the source sentence by sentence according to the issue statement if required. If you're really still reading it as a whole does not help you, read it sentence by sentence. Obviously, if that still doesn't help, please read more. You need to improve your English. This is a harsh reality. Answering the issue statement only, this is when I said just now you need to include the word because, right? Okay, but all right, that brings me to my last point here, the weak explanation. You do not answer using the issue statement only, but you can use the issue statement to help you in your explanation. Remember just now question B, ask for success, but the word benefit comes up in the connect. All right, so make sure that your connect is detailed enough. Use the flowchart to help you, and always link back to the issue. You better copy this down somewhere in your explanation and your connect. Always link back to issue. And that's all. That's all I have actually. So all you need to remember, in a nutshell, once you're familiar, just realize that all you really need to remember are the 4 C's, okay? For inference, C's representing conclusion, clue, connect, and conclusion, in which conclusion is your inference, clue is your evidence, and connect is your explanation. Now, some teachers, okay, they prefer to use the abbreviation IEE. Basically, it's the same thing, and this is a repeat of your I, conclusion. All right, but I prefer to use the 4 C's because it rounds off very beautifully for you, the 4 C's, okay? So just remember this. And if you have any questions, please approach your own social studies or history teachers to clarify any doubts, okay? That's the fastest way and the clearest way you can clarify your questions. But please look for your teachers early, okay? We don't have all the time for you, all right? Because we have many students. We have 200 over students each. All right, so, well, first come, first serve, so get in the line. All right, and that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the lecture, and I'll see you in the next video.